Welcome to episode 14 of the Challenging Approach series. In this episode, we're heading to the capital city of Nepal, Kathmandu. The city is located in a valley at a height of 1,400 metres or 4,600 feet and is surrounded by peaks reaching as high as 9,000 feet, in the immediate vicinity, circling around all sides of the valley. It is this terrain that makes this approach and takeoffs so challenging. Firstly, the altitude leads to a decrease in engine performance, coupled with a decrease in lift, therefore leading to a higher than usual approach and takeoff speed. The surrounding terrain results in complex approach paths into this airport. The approach into runway 02 is extraordinarily steep, while the less commonly used runway 20 approach requires a steep turn in close proximity to the mountains. It is this latter approach into runway 20 that we'll be taking in today's video, due to its increased complexity. Without further ado, let's jump to the cockpit. Welcome aboard the flight deck of this Boeing 787 as we make the approach into Kathmandu. So today's approach, we are going to take a relatively new approach, which is the RMP into runway 20 for Kathmandu. The approach is particularly challenging because it has a very, very short final, all within relatively high terrain. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the aircraft for exiting this hold at the moment. We can see the beautiful Himalaya mountain range off to the left-hand side of the aircraft. I'm just going to go ahead and commence the approach into there. We'll change to VNAV. So now that we're going to be starting our approach relatively soon, let's go through the before approach checklist. Do a quick recall. That's checked. We're going to be going auto brake 3 for this landing. Landing data. We're going to be going at a final approach speed of 140 knots with flat 30. We've also got our minima set at 4,720. And I've done the approach briefing as well. So a bit more about the approach. The initial approach fix is at Dhaka, which has a minimum altitude of 10,500 feet. We'll then continue down a circling path. We'll be crossing the approach path of runway 02. Be descending to our final approach point of Kathmandu 419 or Kilo Tango 419 at an altitude of 7,400 feet. We'll be then doing a more visual circling approach with additional RMP nav aids as we make the approach into runway 20. There's no real designated straight line distance to the final approach, so it is a very, very short approach. And that's why runway 02 is a preferred approach, but in this occasion we're going to do the more challenging RMP 20 approach. I got a little bit of turbulence as we're heading towards crossing that ridge at the moment. You can see just how high the surrounding terrain for Kathmandu is. So the actual airport altitude or elevation is 4,395 feet, so it's relatively high up as well. So whilst our approach speed is only 140 knots with flat 30, that does lead to an increased ground speed just because of the density altitude of the airport. You just see here the terrain is extraordinarily high. On the other side that is the Himalaya mountain range, the world's highest mountain range. So after Belém is when we're going to be starting the descent gradually down to the airport. After our final approach fix of Kilo Tango 419, we'll then be taking a constant 3-degree glide slope down to runway 20. Starting that turn now, away from some of the higher terrain. We can see up ahead is the Kathmandu Valley. And we'll actually be flying to the left-hand side of the airport, so from the captain's side we should have a nice view of the airport before we start our descent and final approach. So there's the airport, you can see it quite clearly now. Beginning to slow down, I'm going to go ahead and add flaps 1. Speed is checked, flaps 1. So we have max speed of 200 knots. And there's 200 knots. There's the airport. You can just see how steep the approach is going to be into runway 20. That's pretty insane. There's the airport, very good view there. So generally, aircraft will be taking the approach into runway 02 for obvious reasons. But we're not here to make it easy. So we're starting our descent now. Might use a little bit of speed brake, just because I can see the speed's getting away from us. Might also bring out flaps 5 just to give a little bit more drag. Go ahead and actually bring the gear down early. Main reason there is I'm just going to increase the drag for the aircraft as well and just get us set up early for that approach. Alright, I'm going to go flaps 15, sorry. Speed checks flaps 15. Slow the speed brake. We go ahead and arm the speed brake. Speed brake is armed. Turn on the landing lights. So we're now below 10,000 feet. We go flaps 30 now. Preparation for that turn. Go ahead and disengage the autopilot. We're going to fly this by hand now. Starting that turn. Bit of turbulence. You can see the airport. Not quite. Oh, there's the airport over there. Hugging close to the mountains over here. I think We've got a bit of wind coming from the south, so I think that's adding a little bit more lift. We're still a little bit to the left-hand side, so we actually need to get close to those mountains. I can see the airport off to the left-hand side there. Again, I'm drifting a little bit too far. Let's start turning a bit more now. Just using a bit of that flight director. So you can see that airport. Very short final. Can't really see the puppy, so we're just going to rely on the VNAV path at the moment. Well, you do get very close to the terrain. I'm going to try and take the extended center line a little bit, but there's the runway. Turn to final. Looks like we're on the glide slope according to the puppies. Right, we've lined up fairly nicely.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue. Touchdown versus probably not the softest touchdown, but we also don't have a whole lot of runways, so leave that there. Disengage with versus, and we'll continue rolling out now.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Wow. What a beautiful approach into Kathmandu. Right, we'll just take the right-hand turn here. Large aircraft, so we'll make sure to take it wide. Turn off the landing lights now. Turn on lights, taxi lights on, and the strobes can almost come off, but we'll just keep it off for now. Alright, make sure to take this nice and wide. This is a nice wide taxiway. Well, I hope you enjoyed that approach, and if you're keen to see some other videos of some other challenging approaches I've done, then check out the channel. I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.